Simon, what kind of sectors or brands are you seeing that are really benefiting from what Andrew's talking about in MENA?
Well, it's really interesting here because exactly as Andrew said, there's huge not just population economic change, but demographic and cultural change, and that drives a lot of things. But the different sectors in this region have kind of different nuances around what they are responding to. So Andrew's point on mature, some brands with mature markets, absolutely. We're seeing that in the QSR brands where not just COVID, but the move to delivery, that's changing the strategy of, the big established operators like KFC. Do they go in mall, out of mall, and they're repositioning their network as well as looking further down the tree. With some of our supermarket clients like Tamimi, it's a little bit different because they're responding to policy and regulation change. So they're moving out of perhaps their home base and moving into another city. So, and each city might have different competitive environment, different cultural opportunities and different formats for the retailers. So they're kind of responding to policy and regulatory changes as well as the demographic changes. And the fitness clients, like fitness clients in KSA in particular, with Pure Gym and Gym Nation, that's a really immature market that's growing rapidly because of the huge demographic change. And it's one where, yes, they need to establish their stores quickly and grow their network fast to achieve first mover advantage in that sector. So that's kind of a new market entry thing. We've got regulation, we've got changing demographics. So each particular sort of client sector that we work with has unique aspirations that all come from the same sort of data pool and data set and analytics that GapMaps offer.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. It's a really good point. I mean, there's obviously a number of sectors there that can benefit from this, but some of the drivers, whilst the same, the way that they take those drivers and respond to the conditions in those markets means they'll execute their sort of location strategies in different ways, which I think is really important.
There's one particular challenge here, which is, I don't have as much experience in Asia as the other members here, but the level and quality and availability of data in this region from public sources is incredibly challenging. So if, the gym operators come to us and say, where's the best location for a female-only gym? There's no official data that will tell you in any of the markets across the GCC, apart from perhaps Qatar and Kuwait, that there are this many females living in this area. So we have to sort of use the GapMaps skills and toolkit in different ways. We have to find, well, these are the women's club. This is where they live. This is where the female mosques are. This is how they move. So you have to use sort of lateral thinking to address some of these points of pain for the clients. That in markets like Australia, I mean, it's easy for you, Pete, there because the ABS tells you how many children, how many dogs, how many cats, how many chickens in each street. But in the rest of the world, it's much more of a challenge and a less direct route.
Yeah, agree. Absolutely, Simon. And, it's always good to know where the chickens are, for sure. And we might, I'm keen to hear from Sean on this one because I know, Vietnam is a very exciting and kind of hot market at the moment with a lot of brands entering, but be interested to sort of see the sectors that you see that have been adopting location intelligence, probably even from a market entry perspective as well as they look to grow.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt that, Vietnam is one of the hottest and fastest growing franchise sectors in Southeast Asia, in Asia, to be honest with you. That said, it obviously has a lot of room to grow. It isn't quite as big as what you would find in Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand, etc. From a franchising perspective. And you see, QSR is dominating a market like Vietnam. Like, for example, today, the biggest chain in Vietnam is a Korean brand called Lotteria. And very recently, Lotteria has made a strategic announcement that they wanted to get into other countries nearby. I believe one of those countries was Indonesia as well. So the Korean companies and Korean businesses have naturally gravitated towards Vietnam for many decades now. So I can talk on about all the investments about Korean companies into Vietnam, but that's another topic and another time. But what you find is that the QSR chains dominate the KFCs, the Pizza Hut, the Domino's, the Starbucks. I just recently read somewhere Starbucks now has over 100 stores, I think, close to 100 stores in Vietnam. That is phenomenal, given the challenges that they face in a market like Vietnam, which is very pro-local, cheap, delicious, but not super healthy, but cheap, delicious coffee that is made locally. So, the QSR sectors, the cafe sectors, and more recently, the fitness sectors continue to boom. What we find is that location intelligence, I think what people and a lot of businesses, what they look for is understanding their real target market, right? Is it the daytime worker? Is it a residential area? Is it other businesses, right? Do I need to be near hospitals? Do I need to be near airports? Do I need to be near schools? Do I need to be near other competitors, for example, right? So all of these things, I think, provide invaluable insights that Simon correctly, ascertained earlier, which was the data, whether it's Vietnam or Indonesia or Malaysia, the data is severely lacking, right? And you really need to drill down to the details in order to select the right optimal location. And when you do that, then your businesses have a great opportunity to maximizing revenues, making sure your staffing levels are appropriate, that you don't have idle staff, but at the same time that you're not understaffed and miss lots of sales opportunities. In terms of inventory management, this is obviously very, very important if you are in retail, whether that's fashion or pharmacies or whatever it is, that kind of retail that you're doing. And again, just solving a lot of operational issues, making them more efficient, I think, is something that I think the entire industry needs to be educated on a little bit more.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think your points are really valid that are coming through from most of the team today around, that site selection is so key to getting the economics right. And, you get a few stores wrong and it can really, cause a lot of problems for these brands. And so, it's important to sort of have some good fact-based decision-making that really helps, de-risk some of those decisions and really help, support the growth expansions and the opportunities that exist in those markets. So, great. And Sebastian, obviously, India's got a massive kind of retail market. Are there other sort of sectors or industries that you're seeing that are really starting to adopt location intelligence in India?
Okay. Now, over to your question. We've not had great, range of fashion brands coming to us, but lately, fashion brands have realized that gone are the days when, they would only focus on the top malls, like the Lulu, Ambience, and the other malls, because that gets any which ways penetrated very quickly. Once the mall starts coming up, all the tenants are there. So now the question is, where beyond the malls and where beyond the major malls? Okay. And unfortunately, if you look at the tier 2, tier 3 cities, you don't have the major malls. Okay. So that's where the high street precincts come in, and that is where GapMaps comes in. Okay. Yeah. So I see now a huge opportunity for the automotive and the automotive ancillary sector, because that particular domain operates under the hub and spoke model, and the hub and spoke model can be easily imprinted and brought onto a platform to understand where are the hubs and where are the spokes and what is the value of the spokes where they want to attack by first establishing a hub in a particular location. Okay. In the fitness sector, one of the key things that they've told us, they've rather used our platform to attack highly prosperous neighborhoods. Now, unfortunately, with India census, you don't have age distribution data. you don't have gender distribution data. But we help our clients understand the prosperity levels, the Sec A, Sec B, the consuming class put together, and how you can compare hundreds, if not thousands, of catchments in a given city, across city, and understand where to come up with your next set of